Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today with video number 5 of my Diamond Painting for Beginners series. Today we're going to be talking about actually placing drills on the canvas. So far in the series, I have covered where to purchase a kit, how to organize your drills like you see here, how to prep your canvas. The last video was about whether or not it's worth it to upgrade tools. There is a basic toolkit that comes with a kit, of course. If diamond painting is something that you're going to do for a hobby, a sustained hobby, then it's likely that you want to upgrade your tools. So make sure you check out that video. So today we're going to talk about actually putting some drills down on the canvas and how you go about that. The first thing that you want to do after you've gotten your drill sorted and organized and you're ready to start placing it. So we've prepped our canvas, like I said, we've got our tools ready to go, we have our drills, we want to start putting them on the canvas. How you put them on the canvas, in what order you do it, is up to you. Personally, for me, I have everything sectioned off into sections using these little cover sheets, release papers, and I will just do one section at a time. So I will reveal that section and then I will look at it and see what drills do I have the most of, and then I might start with those. Or I might look at, oh, I have some ABs in here, I'm going to place ABs first, because ABs, in my experience, are just a tiny bit bigger than regular drills because of the extra coating. So I find placing my ABs first and then placing the other drills in around them is easier than trying to fit the ABs in after all the other drills are in place. It just helps to keep everything a little bit straighter, in my opinion. So like I said, the first thing that you want to do is to go through your drills and pick out the bad ones so that you're not wasting time putting them on the canvas. One of the things that might be helpful is to have a somewhat transparent, this is just a very inexpensive plastic tray that I got from one of the kits that I was using. You can get trays like this on Amazon, because if you use a light pad, then you can put a light pad underneath this and it will help illuminate some of the bad drills. So if it has a tab on it or it's a little bit misshapen, sometimes with a light source underneath it, it's a little bit easier to see. And having a tray like this that the plastic is somewhat transparent also makes it easier. For me, I'm usually using one of my 3D printed trays, so it's not transparent. If you put a light under it, it doesn't really help that much. But what I'm going to do is just pick a color of drill. Let me pick one that has a little more drills, and then I'm just going to drop the drills into my tray. Then you want to shake your tray. And you want to get it so that your drills all slide down so that they're somewhat in a row. And you can tap, you can shake it. I sometimes rub it against the drills on the canvas to get them to slide down a little bit better until you have them all in a row like this. When you have them all in a row, that makes it easier to see which ones are the bad drills. So then you can go through and pick out, do I have any that seem like they have a little tab on them? Do I have any that seem like they are a little bit smaller? This drill, for instance, seems a little bit smaller than the other ones. You can use tweezers for this process. I'm not very good at it, as you can see. Or you can simply use your pen and pick up a drill that you think may be problematic and pull it out and put it in your trash. Some people will save their trash so that if they happen to run out of drills, they can go into their trash, put it back in and use it so that they have enough drills to complete something. I don't usually have that issue, so I'm not too worried about that. I just want to get all of the bad drills out of the way so that I'm not wasting my time when I start multi-placing or whatever, constantly picking out drills. I do all the drill picking at the beginning, and then after that, I'm free to just complete. Another thing to remember is, for instance, this is my typical tray. It is white. So when I'm using a color like this, there's a nice contrast. However, if I'm using a light colored drill, then using a white tray like this is not going to be that great, because as you can see, the drills in the tray are a little bit hard to see because they're also white. So what I find helpful is for the light colors to have a darker colored tray on hand, and then I can simply switch to a darker colored tray, which means that it's going to make it easier for me to see any drills that might be trash drills that I need to get rid of in this tray, because this tray is a contrasting color. So I do like to keep contrasting color trays available just for that. And the same goes for the white tray. If I have a very dark color, then putting the dark colored trays in the white drill, again, is a very nice contrast so that I can see if there are any misshapen drills or anything that I might need to get rid of. One of the things that you'll discover is that part of the reason people buy from premium companies is that the premium companies' drills tend to be a little bit better. And because they're better, you spend less time picking out trash drills, which of course speeds up your diamond painting time, because rather than spending time picking out trash drills, you're just putting them on the kit. And there are tons of things that can be wrong with drills. So for instance, this is some trash from another kit. You can see that I've got little pieces here. You can see this particular drill right here has like extra little tabs on the side that are malformed. You can see some of them in here are too small. So anything like that, there's another drill that has tabs on the side. Anything like that would be trash drills that you would want to pull out, because obviously you don't want to put those on your canvas. So now that we've talked about sorting out our trash drills, let's talk about actually putting some drills on the canvas. Let me move some stuff around, grab my drills and my pins and the rest of my tools, and we'll come right back and we'll be looking down here in this section. Don't go anywhere. So the first and easiest way to place drills on a canvas is single placing. You pick up a single drill and you place it on the canvas, and you place it wherever you want. This gives you the most control over where everything goes. Single placing is more control than multi-placing. It is slower, but again, it gives you more control. Now, if you are someone who likes to do square drill kits, perhaps using tweezers would be better. I don't use tweezers either with round or square drills, and that is because I have carpal tunnel and I find the constant pinching movement really difficult for my hands. Also, I find like that I spend more time picking up drills that have flown across the room, picking them up off the canvas because they've gotten put in the wrong place, whatever the case may be. And also, I just find it very tedious. It may end up with more perfect looking drills, but that is not where my enjoyment lies. So if my drills are a little bit crooked, but I've gotten done a little bit faster, I'm willing to sacrifice that. So if you like using the tweezers, and tweezers are much easier with square drills than round drills, obviously, because they are flat on the sides, then go for it. You can single place with tweezers, you can multi-place with tweezers. Well, other people can, I can't. But if you are worried about your drills and you want everything to be in perfect alignment, then using tweezers and single placing are probably what you want to do. Another tip for helping you to place your drills accurately, if you're using round drills like this kit here, then try to place the drill in the center of the space. Some kits will have what they call guide circles or training wheels, so there will be an actual circle of color around each drill, and you can aim for the center of that to place your drill. For square drills, to be more accurate, try to aim for the corner of the spot where the drill goes. A little hard to see because these aren't really squares. I guess there's a square of color around some of these. So for instance, if I was going to place a drill here, then I would aim for one of the corners. Also, once you get a first row of drills on there, it's a little bit easier to accurately place your drills. So placing the first drills straight will just make the rest of the placement that much easier. When you are first placing your drills, you can use rulers, and these come for both round and square drills, so you can get whichever ones you want. However, they come in different sizes. So for instance, this one says 141. I don't know if you can see that, but it says 141. This one is 145 and a half, and this one is 140 and a half. And it's just a matter of figuring out which one fits your particular canvas. I just go by trial and error. You could measure it out with some calipers and stuff like that. You just fit it here and then try to see, like this one does not fit accurately. So it fits over this drill and this drill, but then as I get over here, it's not fitting. So that's not the right size. So if I try this size, again, the same thing, it's fitting over my drills here, but not up here or these drills. So that's not the right size. And if I try this one is not the right size either, because again, as you can see, it's fitting over these two drills, but not the rest of them here. And I used to have other sizes, but I've gotten rid of all of them, so these are the only drills I have left, or the only rulers I have left. However, if you can find the right size for the kit that you're using, then it does help you to keep things lined up accurately. There is a bit of a learning curve to these, and I'll stick a link up in the corner to the video that I did ages ago when I first discovered these. I don't really use these, and that's because there is such a learning curve, but if you find these to be helpful and that works for you, then try them out. They're not expensive, and anything that makes the process more enjoyable for you is always a win, right? The other thing you can do is to put something like a credit card or something at the edge to help you keep your drills in alignment, whatever is going to make things easier for you again. I am not particularly bothered on whether or not things are exactly perfectly straight, so I usually use my washi tape as a guide. I'm pretty careful putting on my washi tape, and then I just use the washi tape as a guide to make sure that I'm putting my drills where I want them to go. So you can see here, like I said, I'm using white drills, so I've gotten my darker tray out so that I can see if there's any drills that I need to throw away. Just in looking at all of these, I don't see any current trash ones, so I'm just going to start placing them on the canvas. Now, when you're placing light drills like this, something that can help you place them more accurately is to use what's called the checkerboard method. And this is basically where you place drills every other one so that you can place them accurately. When you're using light colored drills, white colored drills, light colored drills tend to show gaps, especially with square drills, much more than darker colors. With darker colors, it tends to fade, the gapping tends to fade into the background. Whereas with the lighter colors, it seems to almost accentuate the gapping sometimes. So using this checkerboard method where you're just placing a drill every other one, and this is somewhat hindered by my AB drills that I have placed, but you get the idea. So you end up with this kind of checkerboard method where you place drills every other one, and then once you have the entire section filled in that way, you can go back and fill in the gaps in the checkerboard, and that will help to keep your drill straight. You can use the same method with the darker colors if you want, but like I said, this method is usually used to help hide or disguise gaps between the drills. Not so much an issue with round drills, because obviously with round drills there's going to be a gap between them anyway. But if you're doing a square drill kit, any kind of gap again seems to be accentuated by the lighter colors. There are also workarounds for that. I have experimented with using mica powder in between to try and disguise the gaps. That does actually work. I'll stick a link to that video up in the corner if you want to check that one out. The thing with using the mica powder is, like for instance, if I wanted to hide the gaps in white, then I could use white mica powder, but if you put white over other colors, then that can be problematic. It may not be the look that you're going for, or you may not mind it. Sometimes you just have to experiment and see. So as you can see, single placing is the way that a lot of people do their entire diamond painting kits, and you can certainly do that if you wish. I do a lot of diamond paintings, and because I want content for my channel so that I can share it with you guys, I try to get through kits pretty quickly, which means that I multi-place. And all that means is, rather than using my single placer tip here, that I use a multi-placing tip. I use glue dots in my single placers, and I use either glue lines or putty in my multi-placers. This multi-placer happens to have putty in it. You can use whatever sticky stuff you want. Again, whatever works best for you is what you should use. If you are going to multi-place, there are things that you can do to help make your multi-placing go better. So as you can see in the drill tray, there are ridges in the drill tray that the drills line up against. Those drills are there so that you can use your pen and kind of push against those lines to make sure that your drills are straight when they go on your multi-placer. So once you have them in a nice little line like this, you can use your multi-placer to pick them up. You want to angle your multi-placer slightly, and I usually angle it away from myself so I can see what the tip of my pen is doing. And then I just place it down. I'm pushing against that line there, you see, and then I get them picked up perfectly. And then I can get them picked up perfectly if I can get my camera to focus here. They're aligned perfectly on my pen so that when I place them on the canvas, they're going to be aligned on the canvas. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to to place them on the canvas, because they're at an angle, I still hold my pen at an angle so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to slightly rock the tip. I'm going to start at one end, at this end that has all the drills on it, and then I'm going to rock it slightly as I place them. So I'm going to place that drill at the end, and then I'm going to slowly place it down and then rock up so that all of my drills are in a line, as you can see. So I'm going to do the same thing again, hold my pen at an angle, pick up my drills so they're aligned, and then I'm going to place the first one and rock my tip so that everything is in line. Same thing, I've got 5 drills here. This is the other thing about using a multi-placer. You can buy one of those tools where you can have a different size multi-placer and just rotate if that's what you want to do. This is, I think, an 8 or a 10 multi-placer. I'm not quite sure, but I can pick up anywhere from 1 to 8 or 10, whatever it is, drills. So if I only want to pick up 5 drills or 4 drills, I've got 4 drills here, and then I can place them in a section where I only need 4 drills. And again, I'm going to rock that tip. You may find that you pick up drills and everything is not perfectly aligned. Maybe they get a little wonky as you're placing them down. You can always go back with a straightener and straighten up your drills if you need to. So for instance, one of my pens always has a straightener tip on it, and you can just go back and use the straightener tip to straighten up any of your drills as you need to. If they're really badly misaligned, you might want to pick them off of the canvas using tweezers and then replace them. Sometimes you can just slide them into place, but sometimes that doesn't work very well, and it actually works better if you pick them up off the canvas and then replace them, just to break that little bit of a seal. You can see there, those are not perfectly straight, so I just go in with my straightener and get them to be lined up where I want them to be. Poured glue lets you slide drills. So for instance, if I put this on the wrong spot, I can just use my pen and push it and slide it into the correct spot. If you're using double-sided adhesive, you typically can't do that. You would need to pick up the drill off of the canvas and then replace it in the correct place. Poured glue is just a lot more forgiving than double-sided adhesive. And most kits these days are poured glue, so usually not a lot to worry about. Now, I do a lot of multi-placing, and I've done a lot of reading on how people multi-place and tips and tricks, do's and don'ts, that sort of thing. I have read and seen people saying that if you are going to multi-place, you should multi-place vertically rather than horizontally, that it seems to keep the drills in better alignment. That has not been my experience, but if you find yourself struggling with one way or the other, then try it a different way and see if that works better for you. We all work differently, so again, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. So I'm placing the drills horizontally. If I were to place them vertically, it would look something like this as I place them on the canvas. Again, I've not really noticed a difference in how straight the drills get placed, but you might. So if you do, that might be something to keep in mind. The other thing to remember is that if you're going to place, whether it's horizontally or vertically, is to keep your drill tray aligned in the same way so that you are not having to twist your wrist as you're placing drills. So for instance, as I'm placing horizontally here, I'm keeping my tray horizontal. So when I pick up drills, my pen is in the same orientation, and then I place my drills down. If I had my tray like this and I was placing vertically, then once I pick up my drills, I have to twist my pen and then place my drills. And because you're making that hand movement, there is always the possibility that you may get your drills out of alignment or things may not be perfectly straight. So if I wanted to place vertically here, what I would do is change the orientation of my tray and have my tray like this so that I could pick up drills, again, keep my tray in the same orientation as I'm placing drills on the canvas so that I don't have to continually twist my pen, and that means my drills are going to stay straighter. There is a definite learning curve to multi-placing, so if you don't get it right away, don't feel bad, don't feel like you're doing something wrong. It just takes a while to figure out what kind of rhythm and everything works for you. For instance, like I said, for me, I just put on one multi-placing tip, and that's pretty much the only tip that I use. for that entire canvas. If you are happier and it makes more sense to the way you work to have a multi-tool with multiple different sizes of tips on it for multi-placing, then do that. Certainly there are people that work that way, and like I said, I am always a huge proponent of take what works for you and leave what doesn't. Everybody has their own preferred ways to work, and just because someone on YouTube says you should do it this way doesn't mean that's going to work for you. And if someone on YouTube tells you that you're doing something wrong, if it works for you, ignore them. Maybe it's wrong because it doesn't work for them. That doesn't mean it's going to be wrong for you. So those are my tips for how to place your drills on the canvas. Again, take the tips that work for you and ignore the ones that don't. How I work is not how everyone else works. I am very well aware of that. So things that I do may not work for you. I've tried a lot of different things over my diamond painting journey, and I can tell you for sure that I have tried things that absolutely do not work for me. One of them, for example, being the rulers. I tried them because, especially again with light colored white drills, if you're doing them in a very large section, having them all neatly lined up is awesome. However, I just found the rulers too fussy, too difficult, and just more trouble than I felt it was worth. If my drills are a little bit higgledy-piggledy in places, I'm okay with that. Because here's my best bonus tip. As you can see, looking at all of my drills here, if I zoom in, you will see that there are drills that are not in perfect alignment. But the more you zoom out, the further away you get from something, the less you see all of the individual drills and you begin to pick up on the bigger picture. So if your drills aren't perfectly straight, I promise people are not going to notice when they are at a viewing distance from your drills. If it is a big deal to you and part of your enjoyment of the process is getting your drills perfectly straight, then single placing, using the rulers, all of those kinds of things, using tweezers, whatever works for you, do that. Again, for me, my focus is more generally on speed rather than accuracy. Not that I don't want to be accurate, but I'm not bothered if things are a little bit misaligned. I try to get them as straight as I can, but I don't spend hours fussing over it, and I certainly don't spend a lot of time fixing it. For instance, I know there's some of my drills right here that are not perfectly in alignment. Do I want to fix them? Yes. I may go through with my straightener, hit them with the straightener a couple of times. Am I going to continually come back to that spot and fix it? Nope. I'm going to move on to the next thing, finish this kit, and move on to the next one, because that's where my enjoyment is. Again, I can't stress this enough. If part of your enjoyment is the accuracy, go for it. But if you're worried about how the diamond painting is going to look when you're done, 90% of the time, your drills are going to be aligned enough that no one will notice once you display your piece. So that's it, guys. That is video number 5, placing your drills on the canvas, and some tips and tricks to help you keep them accurately placed. So now that you have a little bit of experience under your belt, if you haven't completed a diamond painting before now, hopefully you have enough information that you feel like you can. What's next? The next video is going to be how I decide to add bling to a canvas. Some kits already come with bling, come with AB drills, come with specialty drills, whether it's the fairy dust or anything else like that. But if you want to add it on your own, how do you do that? We're going to talk about that in the next video. So if you're interested in that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get a notification when the next video in this series drops. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Leave me a comment and let me know if you found this helpful. Is there a tip that anybody else has given you about how to place your drills on a canvas that you found helpful, or one that you found very not helpful? I'm interested in any and all of those things. So let me know if there's a particular tip that stood out to you in this one, or if you've gotten a tip from somebody else that you found extremely helpful, whether it's for round or square drill kits. Before you leave, guys, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.